Now, I'm new to the field of theories, and most of you probably haven't heard of me before, given this will likely end up being the first video on my channel. So this topic seemed like a good one to discuss while I was browsing my topics. And that is Alastor from Hazbin Hotel. Now, Alastor stands a majority of the show filling up the archetype of a mysterious villain who we know, as a fact, is a total threat, but that doesn't reveal his intentions, instead allowing us to focus on the number one villain of the season, being Adam. The only exceptions that don't lean into this role of him is the song Hell's Greatest Dad and in him confronting Adam. Although something tells me maybe he could have taken Adam on if not for the so-called restraints put onto him by his deal with someone who we can get to in just a bit. The most notable things we see him do are change size, like in episode 5, when he kills the loan sharks, teleport in the shadows, like in episode 2, when Serpentius challenges him, and countless other times, summon shadow tentacles and minions, like in the pilot, when he takes down Serpentius, shapeshift into more deer-like form, like at the end of episode 2, make soul deals, like in episode, I believe it was 7, and broadcast his voice, like in episode 5, although truly only half of these are relevant to today's discussion, which is his powers and what they consist of. Let's focus on the shadows he summons. The shadows each have their own semi-unique look, but overall they're normally black and white, and a few of them in episode 8 have red eyes. The two times I can think of that we see his shadows, like the actual minions he summons, are in episodes 8 and 2, if that's correct. But overall they look similar to what you'd expect from shadow monsters, black and white, and eerie red eyes during the fight in episode 8, but that could have just been because those ones were programmed to attack. Uh, when we see him summon the first of his shadow minions at the Battle of the Hotel, it comes right after a crack in the floor is created and a shadow reaches up and punches Adam right in the chin. I think that this shadow particularly came from this crack. The second time we see him summon shadows, his coat elongates and inside of it glows an ominous green. This green could either mean that his coat is where they come out of, or that there's another crack on the floor, which is conveniently slightly off screen, that they came out of. The main thing that made me even think about doing this theory is when you look at the pilot when Alastor wrecks Serpentius' ship. I'll play that clip for you real quick.
I'm so evil!
Did you see it? You know what I'm getting at here. Alastor uses portals to access his abilities in the pilot. In fact, I believe he has a whole realm to himself, a place that I will refer to from here on out as the Radio Realm. When Mimsy tells his backstory, he takes on the form of a giant living circus tent, which Sim is burned inside of, and I think that is exactly what is happening. He never kills overlords, only traps them within the radio realm and broadcasts them, the screams of them, for all to hear. And then there's Lilith, or Eve, or whatever you want to call her. I'll try to refer to her as his benefactor for now, because there's a lot of debate. That's honestly a topic I'm considering making a video about. So if you guys like this video and want to see a video about that, tell me in the comments, or um, just like the video. You get it. Uh, Point is, I do think that he has made a deal with Lilith or Eve, whoever it may be, and that it, just because it is too strict a creative decision to be making them both disappear for 7 years, unless that is an intentional red herring, in which case, why? I just don't see much of a reason for it unless they were connected. And I think that the writers did mean for us to catch on to that. But anyhow, I think I may have found what Alastor's backstory truly is. So, using the knowledge that I just brought up, that it's 7 years apart for both Lilith and, or rather, his benefactor, and Alastor, alongside taking into account the fact that Alastor has used portals constantly throughout the series as a way to access his abilities. Even when we see him summon shadow tentacles and things, the base point that the tentacle comes out of is always either off screen or behind him on his back. We do see in a few cases that his shadow tentacles tear through the suit jacket that he wears, which, by the way, completely fashionable. Love that choice of outfit. But anyhow, the suit jacket that he wears, I think that he could have the power to open portals to more than just this radial realm where his shadows come out of and where the sinners go into. I'll go ahead and I'll read you what I've written down for this.
Fucker is back!
Yeah, I thought he was gone for good too.
It's been 7 years!
You still pissed he almost beat you that time?
Fuck you!
Just saying.
Things have changed a lot.
Alastor's ability is to open portals. This we've covered. He attained this ability not long after entering Hell, perhaps due to his actions on the overworld, resulting in his elevated status. For those of you who don't know, he was a serial killer in the overworld, pure evil, or whatever you want to call him. Therefore, Hell, someplace that promotes people with more evil in their blood, would likely promote him a lot more. He kills his first overlord, and that's when his benefactor takes notice. Lilith, Eve, whoever they could have taken notice of a random sinner who came down to hell and took out an overlord, broadcasting their scream. Obviously, the other sinners wouldn't have known that it was Alastor at this point, but it's possible that that is because of the interference of his benefactor, allowing him to do this but still keep it secret. Of course, that's complete inference based on what I'm about to point out next. Um, so he cuts a deal with his benefactor for more power. This is obviously apparent by in the show him talking about how he needs to unclip his wings and all that, and how he could take control if not for this deal. But in return, he has to get his benefactor to heaven via this portaling ability that he appears to possess. He probably isn't able to do this all willy-nilly, given the fact that he leaves and is gone for 7 years. Oh, sorry, notification sound. That he leaves and is gone for 7 whole years. Unless he just really enjoys it up in heaven, but I somehow doubt that, because either way, he comes back. What I believe happened is he got to heaven and the angels found both him and his benefactor. His benefactor was able to cut a deal with the angels, as we see in episode 8 at the very end, when uh, Lute, I forgot her name for a second, Lute goes to confront her about her residency within heaven. However, something I'd like to point out is that Alastor, the first time we see him when he gets back, is showing up at the hotel. In episode 8, which honestly I've noticed is a very lore heavy episode as writing this, we see the angels all come down from the extermination through a huge portal. This portal, I believe, could have been something that Alastor could have snuck through. Perhaps he was held captive by the angels, and then he was able to sneak out and get through this portal on Extermination Day, which would explain why, when he shows up to the hotel, it's the day after the extermination. It's the first time anyone has seen him, is the day after the extermination. Because the day during the extermination, everyone's running for their lives. The day after, he shows up. And I believe that what happened was He came back from heaven, snuck through one of their extermination portals, as that's the only method of transport we've seen through hell to heaven is portals. Even in Hell of the Boss, when those cute little animal creatures, I can't remember their name, but when they come down and go to the overworld, and are working against the members of Imp, we see them enter through a portal and try to leave through a portal. So I believe that Alastor snuck through one of these portals during Extermination Day and hides for the entirety of it. With good reason. Most demons do. And then the day after, Charlie goes on TV like we saw in the pilot. After the TV is, or after everything's done and she gets mocked throughout all hell, he goes and finds her, knowing that if there's any chance he has to stay safe from the angels, it's going to be with the daughter of an angel. But this would also explain his rivalry with Lucifer, as he's likely needs Lucifer gone in case Lucifer could report him to the higher up angels. As we've seen in episode 6, Lucifer clearly does still have contact with heaven. Um, this also, I also would like to point out that Lucifer seems to know something about Alastor that we don't. He just seems to hate Alastor right away. This could be because of Alastor's first comment of calling him short, or maybe he knows what Alastor did and is just not reporting him because he's Charlie's friend. Which, Lucifer's a kind, loving dad who will do basically anything to keep his daughter's support and trust. So, which is another thing I'd like to touch on in another video, is the true nature of Lucifer, which I've noticed some things. But anyhow, point is, after he comes back, we've seen that Vox has TV stores all over the place that constantly broadcast stuff. If you need my proof, refer to Stayed Gone, the song from episode 2. I'm going to try to show a clip here, but if it copyrights me, I would like to try not to get a strike. Not for my first video. That would be incredibly depressing. Anyhow, uh, another thing he probably would have noticed is that she's clearly very naive and easy for him to manipulate. We see him even stretch his legs, if you want to call it that, in episode 7 when he forces her into that deal. Overall, this whole chain of events is mostly inference, based on just the most logical way of events. It's possible that there's some other evidence I'm missing, and you guys can shove that up to me if you can find it. Uh, I wish that there were more evidence, but there really isn't. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys want to see more of this, I'm going to do the standard YouTube thing and tell you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want more content, which I hope to be getting out soon. Things are a little slow on the production front purely because, well, first production, it's always a bit of a mess. But yeah, I will see you guys soon, and I hope you all have a very phantom-free night.